Hey, what's up, guys, and welcome back to another Real Madrid review. Real Madrid 4, Elche 1. It is currently, I don't know why I'm recording this at 1 a.m., so I have to be a little bit more toned down. But I'm recording this actually the night before um, Real Madrid play Man City. So it's been a couple of days since this Elche game, but yeah, really positive, really positive win. I wasn't far off. I think I said 4-0 in my preview. And look, if it wasn't for a really poor mistake from Kamavinga, and it was a really unfortunate moment for um, Manuel Angel to get the own goal, but if it wasn't for that, it would have been 4-0, and it probably should have been more than 4, to be fair. I thought Real Madrid were ruthless, which was what we were talking about in the preview. Real Madrid need to go into such games against teams that are in the relegation or even mid-table, and not just win, but win in style. We haven't seen Real Madrid perform at such a level for a couple of months now. We have seen a couple of results. For example, the 5-1 against Real Betis back in I think it was the start of January, wasn't it? And also the 4-0 win over Valencia, I think back in October. So we haven't really seen many, you know, stylish, really brilliant, games from Real Madrid. It's been really not what we would imagine from, a side that should be winning La Liga. But ultimately, when we play against teams that even are in the relegation, or like I said, even teams that are just scraping mid-table, we struggle. And even when we win, we struggle. So it was really nice to just see that Real Madrid actually played pretty well against Elche. And when you look at how we played against Getafe, when you look at how we played away to Osasuna in the last couple of games in La Liga, it's not been pretty. And even the Celta Vigo win last weekend wasn't great, but it was a win, luckily. But yeah, this result against Elche was a bit of a breath of fresh air, something that we haven't really felt in 2 months in La Liga. So really much needed. It's a shame we couldn't keep the clean sheet because look, it's always nice to get clean sheets. I think the last time we kept the clean sheet was ages ago. In La Liga at least. I believe it um was that the Villarreal game? Nah, it wasn't, was it? It was Valencia. When we won 2-0 away. Back in February. It's been a month, and we are still waiting for a clean sheet in La Liga. But look, I'm not going to be negative. I'm just gonna say, it was one of the better performances in La Liga lately because when I look at the last couple of results against Celta Vigo, like I said, it was a good win in terms of the win, the result. The performances wasn't great. Poor against Getafe and Osasuna. And to be fair, we did beat Real Sociedad 4-1 as well back in February, but um, that was the run of games, wasn't it? When we saw, a couple of wins, the Valencia game as well, the Villarreal win, the Levante win. There have been some clean sheets um, since the turn of the year, but yeah, we're still waiting for one for the past month. But anyways, Fede Valverde, 5 goals in a week, scored against Celta Vigo to rescue the 3 points. Um, Scored a hat trick against Man City, crazy, still can't believe that, and scored again against Elche, and it was another banging goal. What a finish, edge of the box. But that technique, and he is great at that because Fede Valverde is a player who can strike a ball with power and accuracy. Right, you can strike a ball with power, you can kick it as hard as you can, but you also need accuracy. And you know, like I said, I'm recording this today. On the Monday night, Soboslai, he's got a free kick yesterday against Spurs, and he is another player who, like Valverde, I'm not comparing them as players, but their type of goals are crazy. I mean, go and look at their last 10 to 15 goals. The catalog that they both have in terms of the type of goals is crazy. And I looked at the Valverde strike and I was thinking, this guy, he can, you know, just hit it as hard as he can, like we saw against Atletico. He can, you know, become a really good number 9, like we saw against Man City for the first goal. The the second goal was just brilliant, in terms of just on his weaker foot and just in a tighter angle. And the third goal is again another striker's finish. Like any number 9 would tell you that that is a really great finish. Like that little flick over the top of Gehi and that finish to volley it in. I know it was close range, but that was beautiful. And again today, right? It wasn't like he struck it really hard, but in terms of where he hit it with his feet, basically, with the boot, it was literally the side. And I actually believe that a lot of coaches tend to say, okay, when you strike the ball, try to hit it with this side of the boot. Like, don't hit it with the front, obviously, but try to hit it with the side. And that's one thing I think Fede Valverde is great at, in terms of when he's striking a ball with power, he is able to strike the ball with any part of his foot, but remain to have a crazy amount of power. I'm like, how is he doing that? This guy is not human, bro. This guy is crazy in a good way. But yeah, those couple of goals this week, he has been incredible for the past couple of games. And I have personally said this season that as a captain, Fede Valverde has been a little bit off it, in terms of when the team is not playing well, you want accountability, you want someone to take charge on the pitch and off the pitch, not just, making Instagram posts. But I think he has stepped up a lot in the last couple of weeks, and he is still a fantastic player. And yeah, just another really great game. I also want to shout out the centre backs. Rudiger's got a great goal. So did Dean Huijsen. 2 different goals, of course. One with a volley, one with a header. But this is what I'm saying. What I said before that Man City game, when they both played really well and they both, kept Man City quiet. Dean Huijsen's best game is with someone like Rudiger. I would say Rudiger complements Raul Asensio, complements Militao, and complements Dean Huijsen really well. That experience, that calmness, that composure, but also we know Rudiger. Sometimes he does act a little bit crazy in a funny way, again, in a good way, a funny way on the pitch. He tries to mess around with players, things like that. But when it comes to getting serious, when the team needs to, be serious and go for the win, Rudiger is a guy who can turn it on, right? Someone who is like joking around a lot of times. He's like the class clown. But when it gets serious, like the exams are coming, and they would actually put in the work, that is what Rudiger's presence is for this team. And it's a shame, because if Rudiger still has that ability to stay fit and we can extract another year or 2 out of him, it would be perfect. But I just think that Rudiger might just leave at the end of the season. And currently, he's playing really, really well. And if he can stay fit for the rest of the season and keep up this level of performance, I wouldn't be surprised if Real Madrid offered him a contract. And I hope that if that's the case, we're still going by someone like Schlotterbeck or whoever else, because Rudiger on his day is brilliant. But we need players who can stay fit and play 90-95% of games. And that's not Rudiger. He can play maybe 50-55%, but he cannot give you 100% every game for 45-50 games a season. So yeah, I thought he was incredible, and so was Dean Huijsen. Um, but yeah, a really good performance. Let's talk about the goals. Like I said, the first goal, really good goal. Fede Valverde, um, free kick from dangerous area. Again, struck it really, really, really well through the wall. Good save from the keeper. Um, he parries it out. I think Brahim got um, a header off the rebound, and then he was headed away by the defender. He comes straight to Rudiger, who just volleys it first time, and yeah, really, really brilliant finish from Rudiger. He can strike a ball as well, by the way. We have seen Rudiger score some banging goals. And I'm not just talking about headers, I'm talking like long range, taking a shot from 30 yards. And yeah, there's nothing for him. I mean, that was literally point blank range for someone like Rudiger. Then, yeah, second goal, Fede Valverde, just a crazy goal as well. The third goal, Dean Huyson, the cross comes in from the substitute, actually, Daniel Yanes, who came on. You know, really, again, I'll get onto this later on, but really nice to see the academy players get game time. We saw Thiago Pitas starting again. He's been starting for a couple of games. We have seen players like Manuel Angel, come on, and we are seeing Daniel Yanez coming in, Diego Aguado coming in, and Cesar Palacios coming in. A lot of young players coming through, and that's what you're going to get with Arbeloa. We know that with someone who coached the Castilla team, he knows about the Castilla team more than we do. He knows the development, he knows the qualities, he knows the mental and physical ability and strength of the players, and he knows who is ready right now to get the call up and play in big Champions League nights at the Bernabeu or things like that. And I don't think these players will. I think it's tough to expect these players coming through to be the next Casillas and the next Raul and things like that. It's really tough to expect these players to stay for the next 10, 15 years, become starters, become legends. But it's just nice to see that at least right now, when we're struggling, we are giving them opportunities. We are giving them the chance. And you're not going to get it with anyone else. Xabi Alonso didn't really do it that much. But yeah, Arbeloa is going to bring it at. And perhaps this exposure does set us up in terms of the Castilla setup for the next coach, the next manager who comes in, and he has a better idea of, okay, what we are working with. Of course, Arbeloa could get the job. Let's be real, but I find it really unlikely that Arbeloa is going to win. He's going to get the job, or he's going to win the bid for the job full time, unless he pulls off a miracle and win the Champions League, which is really tough to expect. But yeah, but it was nice to see those players come on. But yeah, Daniel Yanez puts a really good cross in. The chill guy scores the header, and then yeah, Camavinga makes a really poor mistake, gives the ball away unnecessarily. By the way, what was he thinking? Diego Aguado just waiting for the tackle. I think he was trying to be a little bit cautious. Didn't really want to give away a penalty, but he just didn't get the ball at all. And I think it was Diangana, wasn't it? Who was able to just put the ball in to the box, and Manuel Angel tried to intercept with a sliding challenge, and unfortunately he slid the ball into the back of the net, off the post and in. But yeah, you can see that these younger players are still really lacking that experience. When you see Diego Aguado's tackle, it's not really the kind of tackle you expect from a defender who is, experienced. When you look at the Manuel Angel sliding interception, and it's not what you're expecting from a midfielder who is experienced. But you are going to get that, and that's the beauty of it, right? I'm not saying that scoring an own goal is beauty, by the way, but it's the up and downs that you get with the youth players, because you're going to see them perform at the highest stage. Right against Man City, I thought Thiago Peters was incredible. I thought Manuel Angel came on and he did well to control the game for the last couple of minutes. But you are going to see them make mistakes. But it's about how they bounce back mentally and physically, and how resilient they are, and how much work they put in to cut these errors and mistakes out. And when you see that growth and that change, you know that, okay, this is a proper talent. This is a guy who can be a starter for the next 5-10 years. He can be part of the setup for the main team. But it's about getting that exposure to begin with. And one thing I must salute Arbeloa is obviously giving these players the exposure, because no managers / coaches would have done it. We didn't see Alonso do it, like I said. We didn't see Carlo Ancelotti do it really that much. And not many will do it. So, especially when you're at a club like Real Madrid, when it's so much easier to just say, okay, let's let the big stars go out there. Putting in these young players is not just trusting on them, but it's also risking your job. And I know Arbeloa's job is not necessarily at risk, because he's not going to get it, right? Unless something crazy happens, like I said. But he is still essentially putting up a bid for the job, full-time, permanently. And when you decide to call up and play and sub on academy players, it can backfire. It can, but it didn't, because these players are good. And yeah, really happy with that. Mistakes will happen, but it's about how they bounce back. And then Arda Güler decides towards the end, why not just score a banger as well? 4 banging goals, and he decides to put the cherry on the cake from his own half. Boom. Keyboard's off the line for whatever reason, but let's not, discredit Arda Güler's finish. It was ridiculous. But yeah, what this means for La Liga, Real Madrid are still second, still are 4 points behind Barcelona after they won last night. Yesterday, 5-2 against Sevilla. And yeah, I mean, expecting Barca to drop points is not the way we have to move forward, because we have to be better. And I mean better in terms of consistency. I mean, every game from now we have to win. Which, are we going to do that? No. I don't believe that we will win every La Liga game left, including the Madrid derby and El Clasico. And bear in mind, we have got Man City away, and then we've got the Madrid derby. 2 games that are both equally as big. Madrid derby is the Madrid derby, right? It's a big game for Real Madrid and for Atletico Madrid as well. But then Atletico Madrid literally play Barcelona the next time they come back. I think there's an international break, isn't it? Or is that not? But anyways, they then play Barcelona, and I look at Barcelona's remaining games. How many of these games do I think they will drop 4 or more points? Not many. I mean, they've got Rayo Vallecano at home next up. They've got Atletico Madrid away. They've got Espanyol at home, and then Celta Vigo at home. They literally have many home games to come. They do have Getafe and Osasuna away. Then they've got El Clasico at home. Then they've got Alaves away. Why are we talking about Barcelona here, man? They're not going to drop any points. That's just the case. And people are going to say you're just being toxic and you're just, hating. I'm not. We were in prime pole position to win the league, and we dropped off. We literally just gave it to Barcelona. So to expect Barca to give it back to us is the only thing we can expect now. Because if Barca continue the way they are and they win every game left, we're not going to win it no matter what we do, no matter how we play. We have already given them the lead. Anyways, hope you guys have enjoyed. If that was it, subscribe. The show's on already. I'm going to go and catch some sleep. Yeah. pitch.